Welcome and happy pre-Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Joining us, we got a tremendous lineup in store for you today. Retired Air Force Colonel Alan Sims will be joining us shortly as we discuss the pending possible peace deal between Russia and the Ukraine. I mean, this is just fantastic news if this actually does come to fruition. After that, Daniel Dooley with Centegix. This is a company that has designed an incredible system that keeps our schools safe. We look forward to visiting with him. And in the second hour, Oconee County Sheriff James Hale. So this is a tremendous lineup. And you know, Chastity, that's my challenge each day, is changing the adjective of how we describe our lineup. I found myself every week saying we got a great show in store. Some days it's beyond great.
Absolutely.
Today's tremendous.
Today is a great lineup.
It is. I mean, every day is great, but I got to be sure I use a different word to describe the caliber of lineup, because we're bringing in some big dogs every day for interviews on the Marc McMain show. You ready for Thanksgiving, Chastity?
Absolutely.
All right, you get the whole menu planned?
Yeah. We have a lot of visiting with family, so a lot of eating, and I'm ready.
I got a dilemma.
Oh, no.
So, you know, I said yesterday in the show, we're buying everything pretty much from Stripling's. This is one of those years that we just do not have the bandwidth to cook. My mom, who is the normal chef of the family, especially when it comes to these types of meals, she's out of commission for the time being and is not able to cook. So we just decided, hey, we're going to go ahead and order everything so we can just enjoy family time. Right?
That's perfect.
It is. It's perfect.
And you can't go wrong with Stripling's.
Well, let me tell you what I'm getting here. So a ham and turkey, obviously.
Hold on, let me get my notes ready.
Take your notes down. So the ham and turkey, obviously. You got to do ham, got to do turkey. Yes. We're doing the boneless smoked turkey breast. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that sounds so good.
I don't feel like carving around in bones. I just want to chop right through and get to that turkey. Cornbread stuffing. Now, there's this big dilemma Les Lane has started on our Facebook page about the stuffing versus dressing. So I don't know if I think stuffing goes inside the turkey and gets cooked inside the turkey. That's what makes a difference, right? Is that?
Yeah, I say dressing.
Okay.
So
I think it's cornbread dressing or cornbread stuffing. I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's going to be good. Mashed potatoes and gravy, mac and cheese, broccoli casserole, and, of course, sweet potato casserole.
Sounds delicious.
I think it's going to be amazing. I don't know if they put anything on top of it. We bought a big old bag of marshmallows so that if there's nothing on top of the sweet potato casserole, we'll put that on there and we'll heat it up. But here's my dilemma. I got to pick. They have the brown gravy and the white gravy, and this is my thinking. If I'm eating country fried steak, I'm a white gravy kind of guy. But for mashed potatoes and turkey, I'm brown gravy.
Brown gravy.
You agree?
Yes, absolutely. With some cranberry too. Don't forget the cranberry.
I do like the cranberry, but I don't know if they offer that. So that may require some extra work.
No, I love the canned cranberry.
So just open the can and dump it out.
Ocean spray.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Do you heat it up, or what do you do?
Nope, just serve it. You can chill it, but just open it up, slice it, and it's delicious.
So it comes out, it's kind of in a gelatinous tube, and then you slice it into little cranberry patties?
It really makes a difference with your turkey and gravy.
I do. I'm with you. I'm a cranberry guy. Yeah. I like that. What else am I? Okay, now for rolls, where do you go? Do you go to the Hawaiian rolls, or do you go to the baked rolls, or what are you doing with that?
I love yeast rolls.
Okay.
So, and I'm a huge bread eater, so any kind of bread for me is delicious.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I do. I love the bread. I may just go easy this time and do Hawaiian rolls, but we'll see what Stripling's has, if they've got something I can pop in the oven that heats up.
I did notice you forgot to mention desserts.
Well, we're getting we're getting ahead of ourselves. So let's talk dessert. So my sister-in-law is going to be making a chocolate cake. She makes incredibly good desserts. That's going to be a yummy treat.
That sounds good.
And then Liliana is securing a pecan pie, presumably from Stone Mountain Pecan Pie.
Yes, you better order early because they're pretty hot there.
I was there the other day. There was one on the table.
Yes.
They go quick.
A lot of times I've been, and there's none. So.
And I'm going to tell you, folks, if you've never had a pecan pie from Stone Mountain Pecan,
it's delicious.
Wow, wow, it is so good, so decadent. Check this out. So I was reading a little something, Chastity, about the University System of Georgia was contemplating an alternate to the SAT or ACT. They call it the CLT. It's the Classical Learning Test. You heard about this?
No.
So SAT, ACT, I had to take the SAT years ago when I got out of high school and went to college. So this is a little bit of a different shift. They say they're going to take a little more classic literature approach, using more historical text rather than more modern or technical sources. The other big deal is that the math section is going to be calculator free. So right now you can go into the SAT or the ACT and you can bring the calculator, right, for the math portion. Yes. And so what they're proposing is a math section that is calculator free, which promotes, classical problem solving. Yep. I like that. I think that's a pretty cool idea.
Sure.
There's concerns by some on the left that they think it maybe has ties to conservative organizations, specifically the Heritage Foundation. But what I was thinking, this would be kind of cool if we could find somebody within, maybe someone like Chad Payton, who came in and spoke to us as a professor at UGA, and get some of their opinions onto what college professors think of this.
Sure. I bet there's a lot of mixed opinions there.
Yeah, because, we all kind of get used to the same old. Maybe it's time for a little update, something. Yeah. But I do like the idea of making people use their brains when it comes to the math side. Now, I get it. Those math questions can be so complex.
I bet the students are like, no.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's people grumbling about that. Yeah. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Oh, I love this one. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. It turns out that people that are traveling via flights in our airport are dressing like pigs, Chastity. It's so bad that the Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy had to come out and make an announcement. Now, don't confuse this. It's not like a rule or a law. It's a suggestion where he wants to return travel, specifically air travel, to the golden age of travel. So have you ever seen like the videos or movies or clips of people in the 70s and 80s when they would travel and everyone was dressed nice? Mm-hmm. Men wore jackets and ties. Suits, I think back in the day, in order to travel first class with some airlines, you had to wear suit and a tie or jacket and a tie. It was like a dress code. Sure. Yeah. So what's happening now is people, when they go to travel, they dress like pigs. They're wearing their pajamas. Oh. And so he's come out and he said, hey, look, if you intentionally dress nice, you're going to behave better. But they have got a problem with people wearing pajamas and slippers to the airport. Oh, do you wear that when you travel? Are you pajama girl?
No, but I do have like an outfit for if I'm going to be flying.
Okay.
And it's more of a comfortable, but tennis shoes, to wear.
Something cozy and
right.
I get that.
Like a little cute jogger or something cute, but yeah, definitely no sandals or anything.
But you look like a pro still when you're out there.
No, I don't know about that.
Well, I've seen this. Look, if we've all been to Walmart, sometimes you go to Walmart midnight, you see people that are not dressed the best. Yeah. I'm guilty sometimes. You go in for a late night something or other, and you're not going to go get dressed up and go to Walmart. And so I've been known to go in there with a pair of sweatpants and flip-flops, T-shirt. But I'm not going to go to the airport and travel to, California that way.
Yeah. Yeah, leave the house slippers at home,
Have a little decency. Well, what they're saying is that their logic is this, is that if you dress nicer, you behave better because there's a civility problem. According to the FAA, there's a 400% increase in disturbing incidents. This, people cussing, fighting, bickering with the staff. Yeah. A 400% increase since 2019. So what happened between 2019 and today? We had the COVID pandemic. People are more stressed, right? Yep. Now, keep in mind, September 11th added a whole new elevated level of stress. Yes. Younger travelers probably don't know this because they've been through this their whole life, but people my age know travel was a little bit more chill prior to September 11th.
Right.
But now you add the COVID pandemic, and people go there and they behave like jerks.
I've seen some videos. People are just mad. They're just angry.
Well, it's stressful.
Yeah.
Stressful. You go to the airport, you got to find parking.
Yeah, but it's stressful for everyone.
It is,
so just be nice.
Get there early. Chill out.
There you go, yeah.
Make a day of it.
Yeah, be early.
And dress nice.
And no slippers.
Leave your pajamas at home. Good Lord. Did he even have to come out and make this announcement? Is it that bad?
Must be.
All right, another subject here. So are you guilty for feeling white? Well, according to the University of Minnesota, they have made this part of their website platform to address the whiteness pandemic. I mean, folks, if I didn't read this and verify it. You'd almost think it's a joke. It's too goofy to be true, but leave it to Minnesota. This is the state that brought us Tim Walz. You remember the guy that ran for vice president on the Kamala Harris ticket?
Yes.
Nicknamed Tampon Tim, and he earned that nickname because he advocated for putting tampons in boys' bathrooms in public school.
Very true.
So leave it to that state to give us this baggage of nonsense. So they're talking about if you were white and raised in the U.S., you've grown up in the whiteness pandemic, and it's now your responsibility to self-reflect and re-educate yourself for being a dirty dog.
Wow.
Why does everybody want to kill Whitey?
I think they just want to keep the friction going. Like, none of this exists. It's just something they have to, it's part of the propaganda.
I agree. Who's behind this?
Yep.
Who at this university came up with this, and what jackwagon signed off on it, said, yeah, we can push for this? And I agree with you, Chastity. As racism dissipates in this country, there is a group of people and entities that they risk losing money and power as racism goes away. So it's in their best interest to keep this going, right? To keep stoking the flame. Oh, my Lord.
I couldn't imagine that.
I can't imagine it either. But once again, they did it. University of Minnesota, folks. Leave it to them. We don't have to worry about that crap from UGA.
No.
Go Dogs.
That's right.
When we come back, retired Air Force Colonel Alan Sims, and we'll be discussing this potential massive deal with the Russia-Ukraine peace plan pending. We'll be right back.
This is Cheryl Malcolm on the road to salvation. Who is Jesus? When Jesus entered Jerusalem riding on a donkey, there were shouts of praise from the people. However, there were others who asked, "Who is this?" The crowds answered, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth of Galilee." Jesus came in humility to give his life in obedience of his Father's will. The strength of his identity and mission carried him through the darkest hours as he died on the cross for our sins so that we might live in his love. Jesus is worthy of our lives and devotion, a Savior to those who believe. Do you recognize who he is? Dear God, thank you for Jesus, who gave his life for us. Amen.
Here's Evan Youngblood for Youngblood Tractor in Madison.
Did you know Youngblood Tractor is much more than just tractors? Sure, we have the biggest selection of Massey Ferguson tractors around and all the attachments you could ever need. But did you know we also carry the Kawasaki side-by-side lineup like the legendary Kawasaki Mule, Terex, and Ridge? That's Kawasaki's new cab model with heat and AC. Youngblood Tractor also carries the complete Spartan zero-turn mower lineup from residential to commercial zero-turn mowers. Combine that with our massive trailer inventory of equipment, dump, enclosed, and utility trailers, you can always build a winning combination at Youngblood Tractor right here in Madison. We also feature a full parts and service department to help maintain your equipment for years to come. Whether you're a full-time farmer, hunter, or property owner looking to maintain your land, Youngblood Tractor is here to make your next outdoor project a success. Call us today at 706-342-2242 or stop by and see us at 1600 Athens Highway in Madison or shop us 24 hours a day at youngbloodtractor.com.
Looking for that perfect piece of jewelry designed just for you? At P&A Jewelers, family owned since 1976, we've been helping our customers shine for nearly 50 years. Now proudly run by second-generation brother and sister team, we specialize in custom jewelry design, expert repair work, and fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit P&A Jewelers, where family tradition sparkles. Located in Loganville beside Quick Trip, or online at shoppajewelers.com. Follow us on Facebook to see what's new.
Your call is very important.
Still waiting on your cable company to care? With slow speeds and hidden fees, maybe it's time to pull the plug. Kinetic gives you 100% fiber and gig speeds with 25 times faster uploads than cable. Local service that actually shows up, and clear pricing that isn't there to surprise you. So ditch cable and connect with the right crowd. Get up to $200 when you switch. Visit GoKinetic.com. Kinetic. Internet better. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, Marc McMain. Our next guest is retired Colonel, Air Force Colonel Alan Sims. Colonel, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, it's a good day. How are you, Mark?
It is a great day. I saw this breaking news overnight, and I know it's still developing, and I don't want to get out over my skis because I know sometimes these news breaks of peace deals don't actually formate, right? They dissipate, actually, versus coming to fruition. But I'm praying this one comes through because this war has gone on way too long. Are you optimistic that this has legs?
I'm thinking this is the beginning of something, right? It's reported that Ukraine has agreed to a framework for the agreement, and it's being reported as that they've agreed to the agreement itself. I do think it's a good first step, and if Russia can come to the table, which I believe in this case they will, there'll be some good talks and some changing of what the expectations are.
And I would have to imagine that Russia is compelled to end this war as well. There's so many conflicting stories as to what the true losses of lives are on both sides. I've heard on the Russian side alone, north of 300,000 men have died. That's, I think very difficult to quantify, but I would have to imagine at some point Russia is looking for a way out of this war.
Well, you got to think that's true. They've lost a lot of men, as you pointed out. They've also lost a whole lot of armored vehicles, which are expensive and very difficult to replace. But the third factor here is that with our new emphasis on energy production and Ukraine's attacks on Russia's refineries, Russia's ability to sell its oil has really tanked. And so with their economy spinning, they really can't afford this war like they used to.
That's a great point. I remember when President Trump was interviewed before he became president for the second time around, he was asked a question about the Russia-Ukraine war, and I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said, hey, look, I just want people to stop dying. And that really meant something to me. It meant something to me as a father of somebody who's in the military. I can't imagine the hundreds of thousands of lives potentially that have been lost on both sides in this conflict, the families that have been devastated. It's a number that is hard to imagine because, Colonel, think about this. In the past couple of decades since the Gulf War started and the War on Terror started, it's estimated that the United States has lost as many as 6,500 to 8,500 KIA death battles, and then, of course, after that, you've had people from suicide. This number dwarfs what we've lost, and look how devastating it's been. Look at the impact it's had on our country with the losses that we've sustained in the War on Terror.
It was an observation made years ago that the reason the Russians had to leave their war in Afghanistan back in the 70s and early 80s is because the Russian mother started demonstrating in Moscow because Russia was killing its sons. And I haven't seen that in this war, but you got to figure that the pressure is there and it's rising because they've taken so many tremendous losses in their youth and young men.
It's just heartbreaking. Again, it's on the other side of the planet. We can be so disconnected, and I don't agree with anything that Russia has done in this conflict, but at the same time, when you think about the families that have been devastated on both sides, it really hits home. And I appreciate President Trump's commitment to this process. I don't think it has been as easy as he thought it would be when he was running for re-election. I have a feeling that this was far more complex, but I pray that this is a solution. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Alan Sims, retired Air Force Colonel. Colonel, let me ask you this. Some of the sticking points, I think the biggest one, would you agree, is the amount of land that the Ukraine is being asked to concede back to Russia. Do you think that's the biggest hurdle?
I think that's one of the two biggest hurdles, and the other is the security guarantees that the Ukrainians really want and need. The land portion of it here is problematic because Zelensky has run this whole war on the idea that they would run Russia back off of all the land that had been confiscated by the Russians. And I think that's been a smart tack. It's been a good tactic on his part. It's been a good rallying point for the Ukrainians. But the problem in this war is there's no way to get to total victory. There's no way to get the Russians to just totally give up the way the Germans did or the Japanese did in World War II. And so outside of total victory, there's no way to get the Russians to agree to leave that without making the war bigger and wider.
And that security guarantee, would that come just from us? Because I know that a big part of this, too, is that the Ukraine does not get to be part of NATO, right? That's been one of Russia's sticking points from the beginning. But who would be a major player in the security guarantee? Is it the United States? Does that become our burden?
I'm afraid of that, Mark. This is the last report that I heard yesterday was that it would be us. And it would be us, right, because the Russians won't allow them to join NATO. I guess they can't not allow them. They can just keep fighting. But to bring an end to this war, Ukraine almost has to agree not to be part of NATO, which puts the burden on us.
The ISW, which is the Institute for the Study of War, I don't know much about them. I don't know if you've heard of them before, but they argue that the plan is basically a full capitulation by the Ukraine to many of Russia's original demands that were made in this war. What are your thoughts on that? Do you know much about the ISW, and do they carry weight?
They do carry weight. They write a lot of really good and informed articles, and I think that they carry a lot of freight in the academic and in the diplomatic world. I think that their observation is more true than not, and I've wondered about that myself. And one of the questions I've wondered is, if that's so, which it seems to be, then why is it so? And the only answer that I can give to myself is that before this term of President Trump, the second term, he already had a relationship that he deemed good with Putin. He didn't know Zelensky at all, except Zelensky was that guy that was taking all the aid from the U.S., a whole lot of money,
right,
with Trump promising to balance the budget. So he didn't have a relationship with Zelensky. So Zelensky's resolve, which has been absolutely essential to the prosecution of this war and to the progress that the Ukrainians have made so far, is not good in a diplomatic sense. His hard-headedness serves him well in one context, but not in the other. And I'm thinking that it's just one man's thought, but I think that Trump put this 28 points out there, now 19 points with some Ukrainian input. He put it out there just to bring pushback from Zelensky,
right,
and to put a post in the ground as a negotiating starter. So I don't think it can go forward without some Russian concessions as well.
Yeah, and I agree. I think President Trump, you could see that his patience was waning with Zelensky really from the onset of this process. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Alan Sims, retired Air Force colonel. We're discussing this potential peace plan between Russia and the Ukraine, which would be absolutely stunning breaking news. This war is going on, is it 4 years? I'm losing track. I mean, it's been going on for a long time. Easily over 100,000 men, maybe hundreds of thousands of men have lost their lives, men and women, families, innocent civilians have lost their lives in this senseless war. And I agree with you, Colonel, in that perhaps Zelensky's stubbornness has prolonged this war. The other thing that's of concern to me, and there was an article on this the other day, and again, I always take this with a grain of salt until we really know the data and the facts that come out, that we're hearing that there may be some corruption with some of the financial support that the United States gave to the Ukraine, and that was those on the side that were saying, hey, let's not send the money. We're arguing to begin with is, hey, this money is not going to land where we think it's going to land. If that turns out to be true, if people within Zelensky's organization have made themselves extremely wealthy in this process, there's going to be hell to pay. I'm going to be absolutely disgusted with that if that is what is coming to fruition. Are you hearing anything, or are you aware of anything that maybe gives that legs?
That rumor has been out there for a long time now, for years, almost since the beginning of the war. And there's some justification given by people who want to give up this war that Ukraine is a corrupt country. And it is. If you think about it, from the moment it came out from underneath the Soviet Union, it's been trying its best to clean up its own corruption. And that's just a hard thing to do. So whenever we've given money to countries who are in conflict, this has happened. And so Ukraine is not alone in this.
It would be the first time,
but
right?
It's not the first time. It's like we don't learn from our own mistakes. And there's the thought that, well, you have to prop up the government while it's fighting and actually infuse them with money. But you can't determine where the money goes unless you get more involved than you're committed to be. And so it's kind of a catch-22 if you want to provide that kind of support.
Yeah. No, that's, like I said, that would be a very disturbing but likely outcome.
Whenever I hear that, Mark, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the corruption in Russia. And it's a very corrupt country, too. The whole Soviet Union was really rotten to the core.
Yeah.
And so to help any nation out from underneath that is, I think, a handful. And some do better than others. The one that I'd like to point to that's doing pretty well is Poland. And they have seemingly found their own stride, and they're strengthening day after day. And I think a lot of that is because they have a very strong Catholic base, which helps to winnow against the corruption. Yeah,
that's impressive that you're right, and they went through a devastating time of World War II. To see how far they've come in that time span, that says something. Well, Colonel, I greatly appreciate you joining us today. I'm excited because it seems like the smoke signals coming out from both Vladimir Putin and Zelensky is that they are optimistic that this plan has a chance. I pray that cooler heads do prevail and this continues, and I applaud President Trump and his administration for staying the course and trying to get this resolved. Wouldn't that be a wonderful Christmas present if this war comes to an end sooner than later?
Yes, and it's the best present to the American people, to the Europeans, to the Ukrainians, and even to the Russian people that is imaginable. So I'm with you. I am really looking forward to this thing wrapping up, and I think your coverage on this is just timely, and I know that you'll stay on it as it unfolds.
Absolutely. I appreciate you joining us today, and happy Thanksgiving to you and Vanessa.
And happy Thanksgiving to you and Chastity as well.
All right. Take care. Yes, sir. That was Colonel Sims. You listen to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, Daniel Dooley, founder of Syntegix, will be right back.
What matters most at Walton EMC? Reliability. With 99.99% reliability, we power lives around the clock. From investing in renewable energy to strengthening our grid, we're always working to keep your power on, even when severe weather strikes. And when it's needed, you can count on our skilled teams 24/7 to quickly restore your service. Walton EMC, investing energy in what matters most. Learn more at waltonemc.com.
I've got to tell you about the best kept secret in Monroe for electric wholesale supply, Allen's Electric. Family owned and operated since 1972, Allen's Electric offers a complete line of electrical supply, wiring, breakers, bulbs, heating elements, electric motors, light fixtures, and so much more. Located at 925 West Spring Street in Monroe, stop by and see Brian and Cindy, in business for over 50 years. That's Allen Electric Supply, 770-267-5572.
Got a dirty vehicle? Let Bad Boys Detailing in Monroe detail it for you. They offer a standard car wash to a full detailing including carpet and seat cleaning, tire shine, and waxing. Bad Boy will pick up your car and bring it back to you. They offer a senior citizen discount. Ask for Alex. They're located at 606 Spring Street in Monroe. Call 470-331-1468. For an appointment, 470-331-1468.
Looking for that perfect piece of jewelry designed just for you? At P&A Jewelers, family owned since 1976, we've been helping our customers shine for nearly 50 years. Now proudly run by second-generation brother and sister team, we specialize in custom jewelry design, expert repair work, and fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit P&A Jewelers, where family tradition sparkles. Located in Loganville beside Quick Trip, or online at shoppajewelers.com. Follow us on Facebook to see what's new.
Metro Copy Service, located 257 Main Street in Madison, is telling me that you may be looking for cards and invitations for showers, save the date, baby, wedding, graduation, Mother's, Father's Day, signs, banners, posters, foam board, canvas. Also print t-shirts, screen print, and embroidery. Open Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 11, 12 to 5. Metro Copy Services in Madison.
Madison Flooring, located at 1167 Eatonton Road in Madison, is your full-service and professional installation center for all kinds of flooring, from tile, carpet, laminate, wood. They even do showers. They have granite and quartz countertops. All military, police, firefighters, and teachers ask for your discount. Madison Flooring is locally owned and operated. For knowledgeable and friendly service, call 706-431-5152.
Are you considering selling your house or land, or perhaps find your dream home? Call Stacy McCullers, your trusted real estate expert. With 12 years of experience and a lifelong connection to Walton County, Stacy is here to help you every step of the way. Whether you're buying or selling, she's available anytime to make your real estate journey smooth and successful. Don't wait. Call today, 678-859-6336. A member of Malcolm & Malcolm Realty Professionals. Stacy McCullers, your realtor for life.
And welcome back to the Marc McMain Show. Our next guest is the founder of perhaps the most important company in regards to school safety. The company's name is Centegix, and our guest is Daniel Dooley. Daniel, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I think I may have mispronounced it earlier. Am I saying it right? Centegix? Is that how it's pronounced?
I was going to say, that's a great job. Not many people get it right, but it is Centegix.
Well, don't celebrate too soon, because I think I botched it once or twice prior to the interview, but I nailed it. I nailed the landing when it counted most, when the judges were counting.
There you go.
So, Daniel,
I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, absolutely. And I find it fascinating what you guys have done, and there's so much I want to share with the listeners, and we'll kind of save that for the second portion. I figure let's give you a chance to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. You're the son of legendary UGA head coach Vince Dooley. What was it like growing up in Athens? And tell us about family. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, also, I'm the son of Barbara Dooley.
Oh,
which she'd say is a bigger stage than Vince Dooley, right?
Yes.
She was on our show about 2 weeks ago, and
She's
Daniel,
amazing.
she was Interview of the Year award.
Yes.
She was amazing.
Well, I hate to even follow her. Dad, I used to always say when people would hear Dad speak, they go, your dad's the greatest speaker. And I'd always say, well, you hadn't heard my mom speak, obviously. So she's the best.
She is clever, she is witty, and she is on point. I was at a Rotary Club meeting a couple of months ago, and she was the guest speaker for that meeting, and it was the best Rotary Club meeting I think I've been to ever. And then when she decided to come join us here in the studio, I was so thrilled. It was an absolute home run. So, yes, agreed. Mom is awesome.
It was so fun having her in the studio.
It was.
She is a delight.
Yeah.
We got to have more time with her.
That's right. She'd love to do it.
Absolutely.
So, but you asked the question about growing up.
Yeah.
And I always say, we didn't know any different. That's the way we were raised. And from the time that I was born, he was the head coach, really. So we really didn't know that there was a difference out there. And Mom did such a great job of kind of separating what was going on the sidelines to growing up. And she did an incredible job.
That'd be a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was. And so it really, you really didn't really know it was something different until, probably middle school. And really, most of all, when you lose a football game.
Yeah.
The way people acted, it was like,
Think
wow,
of that. Right? Yeah.
This is real.
Yeah.
So, but it was a great experience growing up, obviously, with the family and Mom and Dad and University of Georgia.
Well, and I imagine the coaches of these programs are intense. They're meticulous. They pay attention to detail. Your mom shared some of that with us when she was here for the interview. I would imagine that had an impact on you in maybe your business and your professional life. Did that make some type of influence as far as your attention to detail and things that you picked up from your father?
Well, it totally did. I mean, Dad had the military background. He never wasted time. If he ever caught you watching what he called the idiot box, the TV, you'd go outside and do chores. So we literally, when Dad was away and, we were not in school, the four of us three of us would watch TV, and one would be on the lookout in case Dad came to the driveway. And then if Dad came down the driveway, we'd scatter away from the TV and go do something, because if he ever called us, being unproductive, we would be productive, trust me. So, but it was a great lesson, and one of the many lessons I've learned from him that helped me in business, no doubt about it.
Oh, I love it. My dad's famous line is, if he caught us, like you said, doing something, spinning our wheels, he said, "Hey, I got a project for you." And when you heard that word, "I got a project for you," kind of put chills up and down your spines, because you knew it wasn't a fun project. It was raking leaves or digging up something or moving something here and there. So that was our, I think to this day, when I hear "I got a project for you," I shudder a little bit.
And we would actually go on vacation up at the lake. And this is always a funny story. We could never enjoy the lake. We'd have to have a project, to your point. And Derek was coaching for Nick Saban at the time at LSU, and Coach Saban was on the lake, and he'd come by and try to get Derek to go play golf or ski. And he's like, "Coach, I can't. Dad's got us in the yard working." And I'll never forget when Coach Saban said, "God, your dad's crazy." And I thought, oh my God, Nick Saban's saying this about Dad. But yeah, always have a project, can't enjoy the lake.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, you probably had 5 minutes to go put a fishing pole in the water by the time the vacation was ending. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Daniel Dooley. He is the founder of Centegix. Daniel, share with us, maybe from college to the point of when you established Centegix, what was your path, your career path like?
Well, it wasn't in what I'm doing now, but when I left Georgia, I wanted to get into coaching. I actually went with the Dallas Cowboys, and I worked for Gil Brandt in the scouting department.
Wow.
And did that for about 6 months. And one of my college roommates, Don Liebern, came out and visited me in Dallas and talked me into coming back. And his father had a privately owned company, Georgia Crown Distributing Company. So he talked me into coming back and kind of working in that company and working with him. And so I stayed there, started in the warehouse, worked my way up where I was general manager, running the day-to-day. But at 35, I was like, this is how I could go in the company.
Yeah.
Because it was privately held. And I was on vacation, and, one of the things, to your point about Dad, it's just your work ethic. And I didn't have any time off. I wouldn't take any time off then. But we went out, my wife and I, Suzanne, to Napa Valley and spent a week. And it took me 3 days to kind of decompress. And at the end, we were in Franciscan Vineyard, and I was sitting there with her, and we were leaving the next morning. I was totally relaxed. And I looked at her and I said, "I'm done." And she said, "What do you mean you're done?" I said, "I'm done. I'm going to go back and resign. I got to do something on my own." And she looked at me and said, "You've had too much wine." And I said, "Well, I know that, but still, I'm done." And literally, I walked in the next Monday and met with Don's dad, Big Don Liebern, and said, "Thank you for everything you've done, but I'm going to go do something else." And he's like, "What? What are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know, but this is such a great job. I know I'll never leave if I just don't do it." And so I left and, started my first company and started figuring it out from there, which led me eventually to what we have today in Centegix.
I love that story.
So I left the company basically in 1996 to go out on my own.
I love that. And again, it's that light bulb moment where you identified in your DNA that you're an entrepreneur. And, that you wanted to make your own path. And I'm telling you that for those out there that are listeners that have not made that leap, it's difficult, especially when you've got a family, Daniel. If you've got a wife and kids that are counting on you and you step away from that security blanket of a salary or, a weekly paycheck to the unknown, that takes some intestinal fortitude. That's not an easy decision to make.
Well, I had two boys at the time, and they were, I guess, 7 and 5.
Ooh, yeah.
And my wife thought I've lost my mind. And after 2 weeks of being at home, I looked at her and go, "Well, maybe I should go back to work here at Georgia Crown."
Maybe you were right. I was drinking too much.
Yeah, maybe I'm right. I hadn't figured this thing out yet. But I stuck with it, and things started to happen, and I'm happy I did.
Yeah, that's excellent. I love it. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Daniel Dooley, founder of Centegix. Daniel, did your education prepare you for the technology side of what you were doing? I mean, was this something that was just out of the blue, or did you have an understanding as to what you're getting into with this company?
I didn't. And let me just back up and kind of tell you how it evolved. So about 10 years ago, I decided I'd had some companies in the education space. I really had some great relationship with school superintendents all over the country. And I decided I was honestly tired of managing people. I was turning 50, and I just said, I'm going to go just sell and do things on my own and, resell products.
Okay.
And so I stepped out, started Dooley Education Solutions, a reseller of products, and that evolved I got into the safety space because I saw that's really where it was going in the education arena. And he used to always say, I still say today, if you would have asked superintendents, 10, 15 years ago, what's your number one thing? And they said it's to educate students. Now, if you ask them, their number one thing is to bring their kids home safely at the end of the day.
Yep.
That's it. That's the most important thing. So I started seeing that. I started getting in and reselling safety solutions, and then February 14, 2018, that's when the Parkland shooting down in Florida happened. And that's when I started looking and talking to superintendents, and they all had the deer in the headlight look of, hey, I'm building all these barriers. I'm trying to keep people out, but they keep getting in. And when they get in the building, I don't have a solution when they get in the building. And so working with school superintendents on the idea, and it's like the old, I fall and I can't get up, press the button. I took that idea and commercialized it. And I'm not a technology person. My son, who's been with the company since the beginning, will tell you that. But I had the idea and hired good people around, and we really just studied Parkland. And when you look at that, Cruz, the shooter, they knew he was a bad apple. They saw him in the parking lot getting out of an Uber. They could have locked the school down right there if they would have had something like the Strategic badge. But instead, he came into the school. He goes into the stairwell. A ninth grader comes and sees him, and he tells the ninth grader, get out. This is going to get ugly. The kid runs out of the stairwell, sees a coach, tells the coach, well, again, had the opportunity to lock it down if he had some. Instead, the coach approached Cruz, and that was the first person that was shot and killed. You go through the first floor, and nobody was in their safety protocols. A lot of people died. A lot of people were shot. The second floor heard all the commotion. They got into their safety protocols, locked the doors, turned the lights out. Cruz went to the second floor, and nobody died. Nobody got shot. The third floor, all they heard was the fire alarm going off because of all the smoke from the gun. And so they were leaving the classrooms. More people died and more people got shot. So when you really look at it, it's like, how quick can you get your protocols? Because protocols save lives. And that was where Strategic was born from that day, 2018.
Oh, devastating day. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Daniel Dooley. When we come back, we're going to dig in completely as to what Strategic is and how it is executed. We'll be back right after this.
Looking to upgrade your home? Turn to Brits Flooring and Appliances. Proudly family owned and trusted for over 50 years with locations in Monroe and Lawrenceville. Brits offers top name brands, expert service, and free estimates on flooring. They're proud to support high school athletics and honored to be a part of the community. From beautiful flooring to appliances, make Brits your first choice. That's Brits Flooring and Appliances. Go to Brits.com.
Have you been putting off auto repairs? Do you want a body shop you know and trust? Go see Auto Correct Collision. Auto Correct is a family-owned and operated collision center with over 45 years of experience. Their equipment and training exceed industry standards. No repair is too big or small. Ask about the special drawings and mention this ad for a discount. Visit Auto Correct Collision at 409 Mayfield Drive or call them at 770-207-1241.
Y'all ever try wrestling a hay bale with a bad back? Or sitting through Sunday service feeling like a rusty old tractor? Well, quit suffering and get to the Joint Chiropractic in Covington and Monroe. For just $29, you'll get your first adjustment, No appointments, no insurance, no nonsense. Just walk in, get straightened out, and get back to wrangling life like a champ. Come on down to the Joint Chiropractic, where backs get blessed, and so do you.
If you're selling or buying a home, you should call AM/PM Septic to inspect your septic tank. This could save you on costly repairs. AM/PM pumps your tank, fixes septic alarms, drain lines. They can fix any problem you're having with your septic tank. Call 770-231-7979. They do inspection letters. AM/PM is family owned and operated, licensed and insured company. Call David for all your septic needs. 770-231-7979.
Leadfoot Mulching and Grading offers land clearing, hauling of gravel and sand, and more. And now offering screen topsoil for the farmer or homeowner, asphalt paving, and more. No job is too big or small. Locally owned and operated, it's Leadfoot Mulching and Grading, serving all of North Georgia. Fair prices and great customer service. Phone 404-909-5227 or go to leadfootmulching.com.
When you walk through the doors of Campton Restaurant, you're not just here for a meal, you're part of a tradition. I'm Josh Parker, 4th generation owner, and for nearly 40 years, families in Walton County and surrounding areas have gathered around our tables to share stories, laughter, and good Southern cooking. From crispy fried chicken to heart-healthy daily specials, there's always a plate waiting with your name on it. We're open Mondays for lunch and Tuesday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. So come on by, make yourself at home, and experience Campton Restaurant, where family tradition meets every meal.
Serving Loganville and the surrounding area for over 25 years, it's the Main Street Barbershop, 305 Main Street next to Braxton's Auction in downtown Loganville, offering old-fashioned service and modern-day styles. Appointments available and walk-ins welcome. Open Tuesday through Saturday with a friendly staff and atmosphere. That's Main Street Barbershop in downtown Loganville. Call 770-554-3300 or go to mainstreetbarberloganville.com to learn more.
If you're short on money and need to buy a laptop or even a musical instrument, go by Fieldstone Pawn for the best price. Looking for something special? Fieldstone Pawn has a large selection of jewelry. They'll give you the best price possible for your items, and they buy gold and silver. Fieldstone Pawn has a large selection of electronics, guns, tools, and so much more. Located at 2315 Iris Drive in Conyers. Check them out on the web at fieldstoneJewelryandPawn.com or call 770-483-8248.
And welcome back, Marc McMain. Our guest is Daniel Dooley, founder of Syntegix. Daniel, if you'll take it just a minute and explain to our listeners exactly what is Syntegix, what they do, and what the product is. I know we talked about a bunch of the build up to this point, but take us through the mechanics of how this system works.
Yeah. So, again, when Parkland happened and I sat down with superintendents, there were emergency buttons. You know, they had wall buttons, they had cell phones where you could get on there with a phone app, but none of them were effective because, you know, by the time you find a phone, if it's updated, you find the app, well, it's quicker to call 911.
Yeah.
So we just said we've got to have something that's a wearable, but we also have a couple of things that are very important. Number one, it's room location. Because, again, if you had a phone app, it'd be like a GPS, and it would give you somewhere on this side of the building. Well, that's not good enough
not
when every second matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's right. So we made sure that was important, room level location accuracy. We wanted, just like the fire suppression system, we wanted strobe lights. We wanted desktop takeover, so when the worst scenario happens, your protocols come up on the screen because, again, you forget what your protocols are in a panic situation.
Sure. Yep.
And then we take over the intercom and we announce the protocols as well. And so that was all very critical. And we couldn't have a badge that we have that you have to charge every night. So we wanted something that would last a couple of years, and then we could replace the battery. The other thing we looked at is, you know, the worst case scenario, an active shooter, it's still the odds of that is like getting struck by lightning. Although it happens,
sure,
it's the chances are not going to happen to you. So we needed an everyday return on investment. So 99% of our usage is medical emergencies, fights, anywhere that I don't need to let everybody in the building know, but I need help. And it's 3 clicks. I need help. and it will go to the first responders, whoever they've located in their building, assistant superintendent or principal, safety director, nurse, and it'll let them know Mark in room 102 needs help. 99% of our usage, over 700,000 times it's been used like that. And then the worst case scenario, we say just keep clicking. And if you just keep clicking, that's when the lights will come on, the intercom will take over, the desktop will take over with the protocols, and they have the choice. They can actually go directly to the local sheriff's department, police. So when they're getting the alert inside the building, they're getting the alert outside at the same time. And that's exactly what happened in Appalachia last September with the Barrow County shooting.
Oh, and that's a story I want to ask about in just a minute, because this is brilliant what you guys have come up with. So it's a necklace that you wear around your neck. It's a pendant, like you said, based on the concept.
It's the same as a credit card access control. Same size card as that.
Same size card. Yeah, kind of based on the old-fashioned, I've fallen, I can't get up. So if you got a student that's misbehaving or a fight breaks out, something that's important but not critically important, they click it once or twice, and then if three times, okay, and if there's a student that's got a health emergency, and then if there's something that's drastically bad, so like you said, a catastrophic event, then they click it a series of times, and it puts the school into lockdown and calls in the reinforcements.
That's exactly right. And like I said, over 700,000 times have been used, 99% see every day. But the medical emergencies that happen in a school, I guess I never realized that until I got into this. But we've saved hundreds of lives just in medical situations where, a teacher fell and busted her head open and was passing out, pressed the button, was having a heart attack, pressed the button when she was in a room by herself. So there's so many things that happen in a school building, especially at the end of the day when people are gone in the classroom by themselves.
The teachers by themselves, yeah, just brilliant. Do they have? You remember back in the day when you and I were kids, we had the tornado drills, and I'm sure they still do those. Yep. Do they have like a test day where they run everyone through the course so the students know how to behave and respond?
Yes. So the state, Georgia. Let me just speak of Georgia. Most states are going to this. They do have drills. They do active shooter drills. They do quarterly. For Centegics, that's part of the whole active shooter drill. Centegics is incorporated in that. But before they get their badge, we really emphasize the training. So we take them through a series of things. We put it in test mode, and it's all about, using it and feeling comfortable. And if they do that, they're good. But if they hadn't used it yet and they don't feel comfortable, they get nervous, they don't know how to do it, they may not press it enough, they may press it too many times. So we emphasize the training up front for sure.
Yeah, you want to be familiar with it. Marc McMain, our guest is Daniel Dooley, founder of Centegics. So you mentioned this, and I had this queued up in my notes to converse with you. A few weeks ago, we had Sheriff Judd Smith, Sheriff of Barrow County, on our show.
Yep.
And he told us what you're about to recap for us, that this system was installed in Appalachia just a matter of days or weeks prior to the shooting. Is that right?
A week before. That's correct.
Wow.
So they had purchased it. The superintendent, Dallas LaDuff, Dr. LaDuff, actually had come from Oconee County. He, a brand new superintendent, hired him in June, July. And then they installed Centegics, got it up and running. And then in September, that's when the event happened. And I can remember exactly where I was when I got the call from my son, Michael, that said, I think there's a shooting. And I still get emotional thinking about it.
Oh, my Lord. Daniel, think of the lives that were saved with this.
Yeah. So he told me what happened and how many alerts were going off at that time. And I'm like, well, they're new. I wonder if, they don't know how to use the system. You don't know what's going on.
Right.
And then the reports started coming in, and, you're hearing all kind of numbers for shootings and deaths and all that. And we really couldn't get a whole lot of information because, they had the information and we were just trying to figure it out. And then it was when Sheriff Smith came on in the GBI in that press conference that evening, and they talked about the lives that Centegic saved. I was actually leaving the next morning to go across the country or overseas on a scuba diving trip, and going to Fiji. And I got up that morning. I was up all night listening to it, and I just said, "There's no way I can leave."
Right.
So we didn't go on that trip, and really heartbreaking to hear everything that went on. But I'll never forget. I sat in my chair. I didn't move, and just trying to figure everything out, because the impact of it happening with Centegix, so close to 20-something minutes to high school from where I live. Dallas LaDuff, that was in Oconee County, good friend of mine, now superintendent. I was feeling for him.
Sure.
The pain I was feeling for this. And I'll never forget, it was Friday night finally. This happened on a Wednesday. Friday night, I had so many texts and LinkedIn messages, I just didn't read them. But I was just scrolling through Friday night, and I see a message it says a parent in Appalachia. And I said, I'm going to open this. And it said, "Daniel, thank you. Centegix saved my daughter's life today." He said that on Wednesday. And it's just like, oh, my God. The floodgates came open, and I was like, oh,
I can only imagine. I can only think, because 4 lives were lost. It could have been far worse. It's devastating that 4 were lost, but you look at these school shootings, and sometimes like Parkland, this could be a devastating amount of lives lost, and it's incredible that this was installed 1 week prior to the shooting. It's just mind blowing. So how do you guys scale this now nationwide? I mean, I know enough about this to know that this is a system that should be installed in every single school system, whether public or private, in my opinion. Are you guys prepared for that? Are you trying to take this across the country?
Yeah, we're actually in 47 states now. In Georgia alone, we're in about 93% of all the schools in Georgia by itself, but we're in 47 states. We're now, education was where we started, but we're in healthcare, hospitals, we're in local and state government.
Not just schools. Yeah, think of that, right.
Every public space. And we look at it, again, like the fire suppression system. If there's a fire suppression system, Centegix should be, or something similar to Centegix should be there, because if you look at the stats, a fire, terrible thing, but the chance of that fire happening versus the everyday heart attacks, different things like that, it's just something that every public space needs.
I agree. It's just forward thinking. It's a blessing in a time where it's difficult times to think about that school shootings even take place, Daniel. It breaks my heart that the devastation that it causes to the families of the loss of loved ones, and to think where the minds are of these young people that go and they do this, they commit these atrocious acts. But to have an entity like what y'all have created, that safeguard, is a blessing, and I appreciate everything that you guys done, and I wish you guys the best of success in moving forward and getting this into every school in the United States.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir, Daniel. This is Daniel Dooley, founder of Centegix. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, the sheriff of Oconee County, Mr. James Hale, will be with us in studio.
This is Q92.3, WMOQ FM, Bostwick, Monroe, Madison. Your home for real country.
Historic Rutledge Hardware is your one-stop shop for lawn and garden. They have soil, mulch, fertilizer, herbicide, pesticides, bonnie plants, flowers, and so much more. They've got you covered for your home improvement projects like painting supplies, power tools, plumbing, and electrical. They're even a Carolina cooker dealer offering cast iron cookware and stew pots, commercial cooking smallware, camper supplies, and so much more. Rutledge Hardware, making customers happy since 1891. Located at 116 Fairplay Street in Rutledge.
Keep your vehicle looking and running like new with help from the Wow Express in Monroe, offering a state-of-the-art drive-through vehicle car wash that includes free vacuums, window cleaner, and so much more. Be sure to check out their unlimited wash club that saves you money. Open 7 days a week at 911 North Broad Street in Monroe and their second location at 242 North Broad Street in Winder. To learn more, go to wowwashandlube.com.
You know how your grandma always told you things were better in the country, right? Boy, was she right. This is Lance Goodson from Loganville Ford, and great deals on new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs can be found out in the country at Loganville Ford. Here, when you walk in, you feel like family. I grew up with my mother and father serving you at Loganville Ford for over the last 20 years. Now the tradition continues with me at Loganville Ford. Find out how deals are better in the country. Visit LoganvilleFord.com. That's LoganvilleFord.com, or visit us on Highway 78 in Loganville.
Willfully Guided Company Boots and Western Apparel in Monroe is celebrating their 1-year anniversary and invites you to join the fun. Starting on Black Friday, you can take advantage of a whole week of deals, savings, and giveaways on your favorite brands like Ariat, Wrangler, Twisted X, and others. Every day brings a new deal that'll knock your boots off. Remember that it all starts Black Friday and continues through the next week at Willfully Guided Company Boots and Western Apparel in beautiful downtown Monroe. This holiday season, shop small, y'all.
Anytime is a great time to make memories at the Yellow River Wildlife Sanctuary in Lilburn. Close to home and fun for the entire family. Not only will you see wildlife up close, like bears, otters, bison, and more, you can enjoy a picnic lunch. There's gem mining and so much more. The Yellow River Wildlife Sanctuary, 4525 Highway 78 in Lilburn. Make plans to visit soon. To learn more, go to yellowriverwildlifesanctuary.com.
Are you considering selling your house or land, or perhaps find your dream home? Call Stacy McCullers, your trusted real estate expert. With 12 years of experience and a lifelong connection to Walton County, Stacy is here to help you every step of the way. Whether you're buying or selling, she's available anytime to make your real estate journey smooth and successful. Don't wait. Call today, 678-859-6336. A member of Malcolm & Malcolm Realty Professionals, Stacy McCullers, your realtor for life.
Welcome back, Marc McMain. Chassie, that was a great interview with Daniel Dooley.
Wow. I mean,
what a story.
A hero, really, in so many ways.
What a company, what a story, and what a great concept. And I pray that they can get that installed in as many schools as possible as fast as they can, because that truly saved lives and will save lives, not just for, like you said, not just for school shootings, which are god-awful, but just normal, everyday things that happen. Like you said, heart attacks, accidents, whatever it may be, just a must-have. So I appreciate him taking the time to visit with us today. Mm-hmm. Our next guest, Oconee County Sheriff James Held. James, you're here in person. Good to see you, sir.
I'm here.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming in. I know before we dig into you and all that's going on in Oconee County, I don't know if you heard the tail end of that conversation with Daniel Dooley. Judd, I think, told us a story that when that happened, you were out there on site, as many other sheriffs, neighboring sheriffs, came out to support him.
Yes, sir. It's funny. There's a good backstory to that as well. The superintendent over at Barrow County came from Oconee County.
That's what he was saying, yeah.
And he and I worked very well with the Dooleys and, Centegics to have Centegics installed in Oconee schools. My understanding is we're the first school in the state, or school system in the state, to actually have the Centegics crisis.
When did y'all install it in Oconee County?
I think we've had it for, I can't remember the exact year, but I know it was probably 5 or 6 years before Barrow County.
I think it's funny because when you and I met, which was about 3 or 4 years ago, you were telling me about it then, and of course it didn't absorb right. It just kind of went in, went out. Right. In one ear and out the other, thinking, okay, that's just another tool for school safety. And who would have known the massive level of importance? So,
right,
incredible, yeah, just incredible.
It saves lives, and I mean that's really the thing is people don't understand that in these kind of situations that seconds count.
Yeah.
And the faster that responders can be notified of what's taking place, the faster they can start responding. So
that's right.
The national average for response to those things is 3 minutes.
And think of all the damage that can be done in 3 minutes.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So you have to think of it in those aspects, and know that when that system alarm goes off and it starts alerting every law enforcement officer that's within the region of that, going off. As far as in that county or in that school district, they have the access to it. I mean, it saves time and notification, and everybody's on the way. So.
Yeah, and it brings in the cavalry. That's right.
Sir.
Yeah, everyone's coming. I love that. Sheriff, for the listeners who may not know much about you, tell us just a little bit about you, your family. We had on Houston Gaines yesterday, and Houston was bragging about his legacy. Family's been in that part for many generations. I think you've one-upped him. You guys have a long family legacy in the Oconee County area.
Well, most people that know where we live on the south end of Oconee County call it Haleville because, our families lived in Oconee County my kids are ninth generation Oconee County.
Ninth generation.
So, yes,
wow.
Sir. So my grandfather and his uncle started a dairy business back in whatever, I don't even know what years, a long time before I was born, obviously.
It'd be early 1800s, late 70s. I mean,
no, not that far back. They were here during that time, but as far as the dairy farm, I think it ran for 67 years.
Wow.
And so growing up on a farm, my grandfather lived right on the corner of Hale Road and Colon Ferry Road, and if you draw about a 3.5 mile circle around that, there's about 45 of us that live down there around the farm. So just growing up in a farming family and in a farming community, I mean, people don't realize that turkeys actually built Oconee County because everybody raised turkeys back in the day as far as poultry was concerned. And then if they had beef cows or either dairy cows, there were dairy farms. But our family was the last dairy farm in the county. And I'll be honest with you, I graduated high school and joined the Army so I could quit milking cows.
Get out of that task, yeah. Well, it's funny because, and when I was thinking 1700s, 1800s, that's your first generation Hale family. So when you guys, is there anybody in the family that's done maybe a comprehensive family tree or like a history book on the Hale family?
So I tried one time. I sat down with my grandfather before he passed away and tried to write down just some of the, I would call his immediate lineage. My wife and I, we've kind of looked a little bit at some of the genealogy things and tried to trace it back. But to be honest with you, the ninth generation side of it comes from the Hardigree side of the family. My grandmother on my dad's side of the family, her family's been here for ages. And when we have a Hardigree family reunion down at Antioch Christian Church, it's a who's who of Oconee County.
I was going to say, that's got to be a big
It
show.
really is. It really is. So it's a pretty good sized crowd, and everybody laughs because we say, the railroad track runs through middle of downtown Watkinsville, and everybody south of the railroad tracks are kin to each other. So
that is classic. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You got a good voter base too when election time comes around. You got some big supporters.
Most of them will vote for me.
Oh, you're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is James Hill, Sheriff of Oconee County. Sheriff, what lessons or values did your family instill in you that you think still continue, things that you push for as sheriff today?
So, between my parents, obviously both sides, my grandfather on my mom's side was a Sears Roebuck repairman for years as an appliance repairman. Of course, my grandfather on my dad's side was a dairy farmer and a turkey farmer. And then Dad obviously took over that business, and being raised there on the farm, just having that more or less the independence and you don't have to go to town to work on it. You can work on it yourself long as you learn how to do it.
Right.
I believe the dairy farm, for the most part of it, for my entire life anyway, as far as while it was operating, was a self-sustaining farm. So they didn't have to buy a lot of feed and things because we grew it right there.
They grew it right on their own.
Yes, sir. Being able to, just what I would consider common country folks type, things that you do. I mean, being able to hunt deer and have something to eat, or have a cow or a pig or a chicken to have
self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining. And garden. Our garden still, the whole family works the garden for the most part, and everybody has.
You guys personally have a garden?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. So, I mean, it's a family garden. I mean, Granddaddy raised it for years and years, and we all worked it and got the food out of it. So, I mean, it's just having that work ethic of knowing that, you don't have to work, like that hard. I mean, I never in my life worked as hard as my granddaddy ever did. I guarantee you that. I mean, just never. But, some of the people, that stuff getting passed down through the generations as far as a family tradition / survival, whatever you want to call it, just really was deeply, rooted in our family and always has been.
My wife is getting her master gardener's lessons, so I think when she completes this, she can come work on the farm for a year and come back an expert. She wants to grow some stuff. You talked about service. Tell us about your military career. So when did you enlist, and what did that look like?
Straight out of high school, pretty much, went into the Army, ended up, going through all the stuff, ended up with the 82nd Airborne up in Fort Bragg. Oh, wow. Ended my military service there, came home and started a family. When I came home, I went right back to milking cows like I really didn't want to, and decided that I think Dad and I both decided that I needed something that had the insurance and things like that. So I'll be honest, I really wanted to be a firefighter.
That was the first plan?
The first plan was being a firefighter. So I've been a volunteer firefighter with Oconee Fire for a year longer than I've been in law enforcement.
Really? Okay.
Yes, sir. So we, Dad was a volunteer firefighter. And, several cousins and uncles, everybody were volunteer firefighters in Oconee. And, just growing up in that family, public safety, Granddaddy always raised us pretty much, even though we had a big garden, it wasn't all ours. It was, we took care of other people,
too. Right.
So we would always load up some and take them to somebody else. So just being in that public service, so to speak, and helping the neighbors out just really, kind of was deeply rooted in us as we were raised. And so, then when I first came home, I couldn't find a job in the fire service. So a buddy of mine, had a friend that worked at the sheriff's office in Oconee, and back in those days, it was easy to just show up on a Friday or Saturday night and do a ride along. And
yeah, I remember that. Right.
I got the bug at that point. It was just like
it was in your DNA.
It was definitely something I knew I was meant to do.
Well, thank you very much for your service to our country. And I know that many veterans, when they come back to civilian life, it's not an easy transition. Yeah. And so for you, did you find that was a good, smooth shift from military into law enforcement?
It really was. The structure, the command structure and whatnot is very, obviously law enforcement is a very paramilitary style, way of doing things, even though we don't, do military stuff a lot. But I mean, it's still the organizational structure of it is very, very regimented, and it keeps you in line, so to speak. And of course, during my military service, there wasn't any conflicts or anything going on in the mid and late 90s. So not having a whole lot of experience outside of stateside service, that was pretty much it. Yeah. So just coming home and being a part of the community and wanting to work here. Funny story is that during those ride-alongs, I ended up going to work at the Barrow County Sheriff's Office.
Was that your started? Where you started?
That's where I started out. Was the Barrow County Sheriff's Office in the jail up there. Worked my way into court services, and they actually sent me through the police academy. And then that was in '98 when I started up there, and then I worked there until Sheriff Berry called me. I wanted to work in Oconee the whole time. Sheriff Berry called me and says, "Hey, I've got a position open down here. Do you still want to come work here?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And so I left Barrow County and came to Oconee in 2000, and I've been there ever since.
And that was your entry as a deputy with Oconee County?
Yes, sir.
Marc McMain, our guest, is James Hale, Sheriff of Oconee County. Sheriff, on a personal level, having family support is critical, not just for being sheriff running for office, but just to be into law enforcement, because you're not going to get rich in this position, right? These are not the highest paid positions, and it's a very demanding role. We're asking these young men and women to go and put their lives on the line to keep us safe. How important is having your family behind you and supporting you in what you're doing?
It's extremely important. My grandmother on my dad's side is 98 years old. She's my last living grandparent. And I made the mistake of coming home one day after I got elected sheriff and kind of complaining about something that was going on. And she looked me straight in the face at 97 years old at the time and said, "Son, you went door to door and asked for this." And I was like, well, you can't argue with that.
You signed up for it.
You signed up for this. So, absolutely. Having the family support is pivotal. I mean, just being able to deal with some of their life experiences, it rolls right into it. There's really no difference in being a sheriff than there is being a clerk at a manager of a convenience store or anything. It's generally the people that you're dealing with 90% of the time. So it's managing the employees of the sheriff's office and the deputies that work there, and then of course dealing with the public in general. There's a lot of things that I can do as a sheriff. There's a lot of things that I can't do. The problem is there's a lot of times that people think you can do something that you can't. So,
well, and people may not realize the sheriff, at least in the state of Georgia, is the highest ranking constitutional officer in each county. You guys have a lot of say in what goes on.
We do to a certain extent, and we're still. there's 159 sheriffs in the state of Georgia, but if you ask 159 sheriffs what their opinion of something is, you're going to get 159 different answers. So the thing is that, you know, and then there are different types of sheriffs as well. So for some sheriffs, being an at-will sheriff that comes into office can, you know, completely clean out the entire office and hire new people. There are sheriffs like myself that we're under a different system to where my employees are actually county employees also.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
so if I were to try to clean house, so
There's
to
steps
speak,
that you have to take.
Correct.
Yeah.
I have the hiring capability, I have the firing capability, but it has to be within certain parameters in order to do that. So it's not something that I can just come in and say, I no longer need your service kind of thing.
There's a process.
Yes, sir.
Mark McMain, when we come back, more with Oconee County Sheriff James Hale.
Looking for that perfect piece of jewelry designed just for you? At P&A Jewelers, family owned since 1976, we've been helping our customers shine for nearly 50 years. Now proudly run by second-generation brother and sister team, we specialize in custom jewelry design, expert repair work, and fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit P&A Jewelers, where family tradition sparkles. Located in Loganville beside Quick Trip, or online at shoppajewelers.com. Follow us on Facebook to see what's new.
Your call is very important.
Still waiting on your cable company to care? With slow speeds and hidden fees, maybe it's time to pull the plug. Kinetic gives you 100% fiber and gig speeds with 25 times faster uploads than cable. Local service that actually shows up, and clear pricing that isn't there to surprise you. So ditch cable and connect with the right crowd. Get up to $200 when you switch. Visit GoKinetic.com. Kinetic. Internet better. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you considering selling your house or land, or perhaps find your dream home? Call Stacy McCullers, your trusted real estate expert. With 12 years of experience and a lifelong connection to Walton County, Stacy is here to help you every step of the way. Whether you're buying or selling, she's available anytime to make your real estate journey smooth and successful. Don't wait. Call today. 678-859-6336. A member of Malcolm & Malcolm Realty Professionals. Stacy McCullers, your realtor for life.
Tailgate season is here, and your tailgate one-stop shop is Stripling's General Store in Bogart. You'll find everything you need to make your tailgate a huge success. There's barbecue, chicken, fresh cut meats, side dishes like Brunswick stew, potato salad, snacks, cold beverages, ice, and so much more. Proud to support high school sports, it's Stripling's General Store, Highway 78 East and Highway 53 in Bogart, open 7 days a week.
Willfully Guided Company Boots and Western Apparel in Monroe is celebrating their 1-year anniversary and invites you to join the fun. Starting on Black Friday, you can take advantage of a whole week of deals, savings, and giveaways on your favorite brands like Ariat, Wrangler, Twisted X, and others. Every day brings a new deal that'll knock your boots off. Remember that it all starts Black Friday and continues through the next week at Willfully Guided Company Boots and Western Apparel in beautiful downtown Monroe. This holiday season, shop small, y'all.
It's lunchtime, and you want some good old home cooking? Then check out Up and Smoke Catering and Cafe, featuring comfort food like country fried steak, pork chops, chopped steak, pot roast, side dishes like mashed potatoes, butter peas, desserts, and more. Open Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Catering available for all events. 116 Main Street in Jersey. Call 770-742-6483 or go to upandsmokecatering.co.
Marc McMain, our guest, is Sheriff James Hale of Oconee County. Sheriff, you were talking about your transition from military into law enforcement. So at what point did the idea of running for sheriff come along? Was this something that was brewing in you at an early stage, or was it a light bulb moment?
It really did start at an early age or at an early stage of my law enforcement career. I always thought that, you know, coming back to Oconee County, being at home and having the base that I knew I had there, I really thought about it for a long time and knew that I was in a position to where Sheriff Berry, being a long-time sheriff,
very popular sheriff,
that I figured that there was no better place to learn. And he even will tell me that I learned a lot about what to do, but I learned a lot about what not to do as well. So,
that's part of it.
You know, that was something that I felt like probably back in 2016 was when the first initial thought that I was going to run. And Sheriff Berry decided that he wanted to run for one more term. And so, of course, that, in all honesty, to me, I told him, I said, well, that just gives me 4 more years to get ready.
You had a plan and prepare.
That's correct. Yeah. So, at that point, he kind of put me in a command level position, and stayed in his hip pocket for that last 4 years and learned as much as I could possibly learn about doing the job. And I tell people all the time, it's kind of funny, I thought I knew what I needed to know to be the sheriff, but until you're sitting in that chair, you have no clue.
Yeah, there's only so much preparation or reading or studying that you can do. You just need to get out there and do it.
That's exactly right. I'm gonna call it lucky, if you want to call it that, but only had one other person run that year in 2020. Of course, COVID kind of put a damper on the campaign season, so to speak, but I ended up winning in the primary, so basically there was nobody else to run against in the general election. So from the time I got elected, or was the sheriff-elect, from June of 2020 all the way up until January of 21, I was able to sit in that position and learn more than I could have ever learned anywhere else. And Sheriff Berry made a funny joke one time. He told me, he said, "Son, you're going to have fond memories of when you actually got to do law enforcement work." And he was dead right.
Well, and you guys, they put you through like an educational course too, right? Don't they? Is the Georgia Sheriff's Association does it, or who puts that on?
Yes, the Georgia Sheriff's Association does a Sheriff-elect Academy.
Was that worth it? I mean, did you learn some stuff there?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. There were a lot of things that I already knew a good bit about because of the tutelage of Sheriff Berry, but it was a good way to sit down and bounce those ideas off of other new sheriffs. Generally, I think on average every 4 years there's 30 to 40 new sheriffs that come into office. So that class actually is a 4-week-long class to where you're there for 4 weeks straight, and that's all you're doing is
like a mini college course.
It really is, and so they really teach you all the ins and outs from the inception of the sheriff being what it is to what it is today, and pretty much all the ins and outs of working the sheriff's office.
Campaigns can be tough, right? It's a lot of work.
Sure.
You're raising money, you're knocking doors, you're out building support. So you've ran one re-election campaign, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you enjoy that process, getting out and just visiting with the constituents, shaking hands?
I do, and the fun part of it to me, well, I'll tell you, back in 2020, of course, COVID kicked in, and we didn't get a whole lot of campaigning. I was very proud of my team at that time because we actually did knock about 3,000 doors before COVID kind of shut us down.
Yeah.
So I had a team that I don't even know how to describe it, but my campaign manager was a senior in high school. And then her number 2, he was a junior in high school, and both of them are very well known now.
They got fresh legs. They're willing to march and pound and get.
Well, not only that, but they rallied up the troops. I mean, they had kids coming out from everywhere, and they were going out, and we were knocking doors, and we'd do it on the weekends and just go out and do things. And it was really fun getting out and seeing people. I think I had tried to, in the years prior to that, be as involved as I could with everything that I could possibly be involved with. And just being out in the public eye and seeing people on a regular basis and trying to help when I could, and and dealing with people in a fair and just manner, it just I think that just really helped me out a lot.
That one-on-one interaction with people, I think, is probably the most precious. To sit down and just have a conversation. Not a shouting match, and you're not getting interrogated. It's just like, hey, what's important to you?
That's right.
Right, just learning what their concerns are.
Yes, sir.
Marc McMain, our guest, is James Hale, Sheriff of Oconee County. Sheriff, law enforcement went through a tough time, undeservingly, in the 2020 year when the left really came down and did some despicable things. Defunding the police was kind of the topic du jour. I think a side effect of that is it made it difficult for law enforcement entities, chiefs of police, sheriffs, to recruit and retain talent because it was a low point. We're somewhat sheltered here in our area in Oconee, Walton, Morgan Barrow, because we got good, strong conservative leadership. Other areas weren't so fortunate. How did you guys manage that in that time?
We had our problems with it as well. It was one of those times where you had some younger deputies or younger employees of the sheriff's office that felt like they could make more money doing work in the private sector and not have the scrutiny that they had,
and not risking their lives.
Correct. That's correct. But then, when I took office, that was my main goal, was to try to recruit people that were from Oconee County. I didn't want to try to get too many people from outside the county because I wanted them to be a part of the community.
They're vested in what they're doing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they may not actually live in Oconee because, they may not be able to afford to live in Oconee, but
Sure.
they grew up here and had to move away for whatever reason. But most of the guys and gals that work for me now.
Oh. Oh. Welcome back, Marc McMain Show. That was an emergency alert system. I don't know if our listeners heard that alert, but there is I guess the Georgia's version of the Amber Alert. Somebody has abducted a child. If you didn't hear that, I didn't take all the notes, and so hopefully that kid gets found. That's always frightening. We're visiting with Sheriff James Hale of Oconee County to listen to the Marc McMain Show. Sheriff, that's the first time this ever happened to me when I was doing a show, when we got shut down for emergency alert. And I thought it'd be weather as well. But
well, we had a pretty good line of storms come through a little while ago, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So we were talking about the atmosphere in law enforcement at that time and the complexities that maybe you faced as a sheriff, whether in the form of retention or recruiting talent. And again, I think somewhat insulated, but you still felt the ripples of that.
We did. We got down probably, 6 or 7 positions overall, and the jail that we run in the jail, that generally becomes a proving ground for law enforcement a lot of times. And people that come to work in the jail, think that they want to be in law enforcement, and they get into that controlled environment and they realize, hey, this may not be for me. So
right. Yeah.
That it's kind of a revolving door sometimes in the jail. But as far as patrol goes and out, the deputies that are actually patrolling the roads, we had a little hard time there for a while getting
Sure.
people to come back to work. Of course, right after I took office, there were a handful of people that had been there for a long time that were ready to retire, and so
you had some vacancies to fill as well.
We did have some
Yeah.
vacancies as well, so that's where we kind of struggled for a little bit, but we're doing pretty good right now.
And since becoming sheriff, before we close this segment here, are there any accomplishments or changes that you implemented or goals that you achieved that you're proud of that really were something that were important to you when you were campaigning?
Yes, sir. So, I think that working with the county commissioners the way we've done, my chief deputy and I, we sat down and we came up with a plan with the county commission chairman, and we knew that Costco came to Oconee County and we were going to have to have more help. And I'm very proud of the fact that we were able to increase our manpower during the time that I've been sheriff. But I kind of told them, I said, you can give me 10 positions right now and I can't fill them because I can't pay them what somebody next door is paying us. So we were able to do our own little pay study by calling around to all the other surrounding sheriff's offices and law enforcement, police departments, everybody, and just kind of getting what their hiring package was. What's your starting salary, those different things. and my chief deputy, and we went through there and compiled a list of about 22 agencies, and we were pretty low on that list as far as starting salary. So we worked with the county commissioners to build that salary up to where we're up in the upper echelon of that list now, and so our pay is pretty comparable to everybody around. And so that really helped build, well, first and foremost, it helped us retain the ones we had.
That's
because
right.
we didn't have them leaving us to go somewhere else for $1 extra an hour. And then it helped us recruit some quality candidates to come work for us that, we knew would take care of the people of Oconee County.
Well, and I love that because, again, I don't think anybody gets into law enforcement to get rich, but they don't want to go broke.
That's correct.
Right? We got to be sure that they can survive or that they can make a decent living. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. When we come back, more with Sheriff James Hale.
Youngblood Tractor in Madison is proud to be your local Massey Ferguson dealer. Massey Ferguson has been building straightforward, dependable, and affordable tractors and farm equipment for 175 years. Massey Ferguson right now has the best lineup in their 175-year history, and there has never been a better time to upgrade to a Massey Ferguson tractor. Youngblood Tractor carries the complete lineup of Massey Ferguson tractors ranging from the 22.5 horsepower subcompact all the way up to the 130 horsepower mid-range utility tractor. And with one of the largest trailer inventories in the state, you'll always have a way to get it home. Youngblood Tractor also carries the complete lineup of hay equipment, including the legendary Massey Ferguson 1840 square baler, as well as implements like rotary cutters, batwing cutters, box blades, grapples, pallet forks, and more. There are great financing promotions to take advantage of, so give us a call today at 706-342-2242. Youngblood Tractor also has experienced parts and service departments to take care of you after the sale. Visit us online at www.youngbloodtractor.com or stop by and see us at 1600 Athens Highway in Madison.
Ready to grow your small business and reach thousands of new customers? Say hello to Town Values Magazine, formerly MTM Shopper, proudly serving the community for 22 years. Every month, thousands of magazines are mailed directly to homes in Walton, Oconee, Barrow, Rockdale, Newton, Gwinnett, and beyond to further expand your reach. Our magazine is packed with valuable coupons and services offered, helping families save money while supporting the community they love. We specialize in local direct marketing that works, building your brand, driving sales, and connecting you with the customers who matter most. Plus, we're online at townvalues.com and on Facebook and Instagram, giving your business even more exposure in print and digital. Ready to reserve your space in the next edition? Call Liliana at 770-267-6650. Town Values Magazine. Local, trusted, powerful. Helping businesses grow and families save.
Metro Copy Service, located 257 Main Street in Madison, is telling me that you may be looking for cards and invitations for showers, save the date, baby, wedding, graduation, Mother's, Father's Day, signs, banners, posters, foam board, canvas, also print t-shirts, screen print, and embroidery. Open Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 to 11, 12 to 5. Metro Copy Services in Madison.
It's lunchtime, and you want some good old home cooking? Then check out Up and Smoke Catering and Cafe, featuring comfort food like country fried steak, pork chops, chopped steak, pot roast, side dishes like mashed potatoes, butter peas, desserts, and more. Open Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Catering available for all events. 116 Main Street in Jersey. Call 770-742-6483 or go to upandsmokecatering.co.
More great grocery savings are at John's Supermarket in Monroe. Right now, USDA inspected fresh chicken leg quarters are 99 cents a pound. Lean meaty fresh bone-in country style ribs, $2.19 a pound. Garden fresh crisp cucumbers are 69 cents. You'll find garden fresh bell peppers for 89 cents. And Old El Paso dinner kits, 2 for $6. Find these great deals and many more at John's Supermarket, located on South Broad Street in downtown Monroe.
My name is Trace Akins. I'm from Moultrie, Georgia. To be an organ donor, it would make my family really proud to see something of me live on in someone else. I want my legacy to be me being there for someone who really needs me and helping someone out that really needs help, hoping that they will continue that legacy within themselves and do that with their friends and family.
When you become an organ and tissue donor, your story continues. Lifelink. Register today at mystorycontinues.com.
Welcome back, Marc McMain. Our guest is Sheriff James Hale. He is the sheriff of Oconee County. When I had met you a few years ago, Sheriff, you were going through what was a pretty stressful situation. You had a district attorney that was not, you didn't have a good working relationship, and it wasn't a you problem, it was a her problem.
Right.
And now you guys have a great DA. Tell us about that. What are the complexities as a sheriff? Here you are, you're out, you're trying to enforce the law, you're arresting people for committing crimes, and then she lets them go.
So you have to think back to everything that was going on from 2020 up until about 2022, with again the descent of the world pretty much against law enforcement. Well, you've got a law enforcement officer or deputy that's out there trying to enforce the laws as they're expected to do. And it's hard to motivate a young man or woman that's out there doing that job and putting their life on the line every day, knowing that whatever they do is going to be fruitless because of the fact that it's not going to be prosecuted when it gets to court. The thing is it doesn't matter if it's just a traffic stop. People think all the time it's just a traffic stop. Well, or it's just a domestic dispute or something like that. Those are the two most dangerous times for a law enforcement officer. I mean, driving down the road fast is bad enough, but when you're making a traffic stop with some unknown person that's on the side of the road, the danger level is there, and that person, that law enforcement officer that gets out with that person is doing that job, and they're trying to do it the best of their ability, but doing that and at the same time knowing that nothing's going to happen to it after the fact, it gets hard for them to continue doing that. So it was difficult task for us to sit down with everybody and just pretty much say, hey, no matter what's going to happen to this after the fact, you should have already had in your mind that you're just going to do your job, and you're going to do it to the best of your ability. You're going to be as safe as you can. We're going to train you to make sure that you do it as safe as you can and make sure it's safe for that citizen that you're dealing with. And at the same time, understand that you don't have to be happy with the outcome of it, come court time. You just have to go home and sleep tonight knowing that you went home doing your job the way you're supposed to.
Sheriff, I didn't think of that element. So you and I had talked about it, and I realized the complexity for the sheriffs and the frustration that these criminals were not being properly prosecuted or followed through on. I didn't think about what that meant, the impact it had on the deputies.
Right.
They're out, like you said, they're risking their life, maybe chasing somebody that just committed a crime, and then in the back of their mind, they have to realize, hey, this guy's not going to, he's going to get off on me chasing him again next weekend.
Well, so on the flip side of that too, let's just use the chase as the incident. You got that deputy that's out there chasing someone because they're trying to enforce the law and they're trying to take them into custody, and somebody else gets hurt, and then you've got that DA that wants to prosecute the deputy for just doing their job. So that's the fear that they have in the back of their mind all the time out there during that time frame, because of the fact that they were scared to do their job because they were scared they were going to get prosecuted for trying to do what was right.
We still have DAs that look at law enforcement as trophies, right? They want to make a statement. I don't know where this comes from. It is the most bizarre thing. I think it does. It is a symbol of the degradation of our society when you've got powers that be, financial supporters of these DAs, these radical left supporters that are trying to put these DAs in position, and that is their motion to say, hey, let's arrest the law enforcement officers. How far have we come? I mean, it seems like this is really getting unwound quickly, at least in our backyard. You got a great DA now.
Yes, sir.
And so do you see that this has been a lift to morale?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the guys and gals are more apt to get out and proactively do their job because of the fact that they feel, they're well trained to do what they're supposed to do, and they, people think about, well, there's bad cops everywhere. Well, I don't care what you're doing. There's bad somebody in every line of work.
Everywhere.
It doesn't matter. And I think that the scrutiny that people give law enforcement is nowhere close as the scrutiny law enforcement gives other law enforcement that doesn't do it right.
That's right.
So, I mean, we want to root out the bad. And we want to do it right all the time, and that's the goal anyway. No law enforcement officer ever got up that morning thinking, hey, I'm going to go to work today and I'm going to get in a shootout. I mean, they just don't do that. I mean, nobody wants to do that.
And think about this. Think about across this nation the amount of interactions between law enforcement and somebody breaking the law. And again, it could be something as simple as a speeding ticket, or it may be something more grave or more complex. So there's tens of thousands of these interactions. I'm going to guess. I don't know. This isn't scientific data, but let's say there's tens of thousands of these daily, hundreds of thousands a month. And we expect perfection. It doesn't work that way.
No.
And especially when you have these high stress moments, maybe you've pulled somebody over and that person's not compliant. The one thing that I learned really quick at a young age, and I'm going to fess up something to you, Sheriff. I've been pulled over, I think, 9 times, and I've only been given 1 ticket. And it's because when the law enforcement officer comes to my car, my hands are on the steering wheel, I've already got my insurance and my driver's license ready to go, and I never say, what did I do? I usually know what I did.
Oh, yeah.
And so I treat them with the utmost of respect, and more often than not, unless, I think one time I was coming to Hilton Head and there was a speed trap there, and they got me on that one. But I found that treating the law enforcement officers with respect and dignity benefited me. Sure. In that whole interaction. And so when I see these videos or when I hear stories of these combative moments, what are these people thinking?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I'd find something better to do. But no, I mean, it is just a societal shift for whatever reason to, I don't know, I guess they figure that law enforcement is a part of the government and they don't want to be a part of the government and they don't want to be told what to do by the government, and that's fine. I understand that, but law enforcement doesn't want to tell them what to do. They just want to make sure everybody's safe. And the spirit of the law is to make sure that people are safe.
Yeah.
And that's the whole job itself, is trying to help people out, use good discretion when it comes to, making cases and doing things, dealing with the public in general. I mean, if you think about it, every time we go out on a call of service to someone's house, you're always dealing with 2 parties, and you're not going to be able to pick both sides.
Right.
Somebody's not going to be happy with the outcome, or both even may not be happy with the outcome. So it's having the right mentality to do the job in the first place, and it's having the training to make sure that you make that good decision in a snap decision. The problem is we don't have that hindsight of 2020 to be able to look back on it before we do it and say, well, this is what we should have done. It's something that happens in a split second, and the problem is the general population doesn't understand that tense situation is very tense and very rapidly evolving, and you're expecting a human to make a robotic decision in a split second, and it's just not possible.
Oh, I agree. It's funny you say that, because I think about here when we're doing this live show and something goes wacko, we have technical issues here and there. Oftentimes, Chassie and I are looking at each other like, what do we do? And here you have an officer who's in this high-stress, high-tense situation, and like you said, having to make a critical, sometimes life-and-death situation in a snap of a finger. We ask a lot, and it's incredible. I thank our law enforcement every day. It's incredible how often they do it right. It's with 99.99% accuracy, and unfortunately in this culture we live in, the few times things don't go the way they should, that's what's put on public display.
That's correct.
That's the norm. It's frustrating. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. Our guest is Sheriff James Hale, Sheriff of Oconee County. Let's talk a little bit more before this next break here, Sheriff, about the relationship with your new DA. Do you guys, is there a good communication out with that department, and are you guys in sync with each other as far as, somebody gets arrested and it's followed through upon?
Very much so. And so for the sake of judicial, efficiency, obviously there's going to be cases that we make the charge. There's enough to actually, take it to court and get a conviction on. But because of the fact that there's so much backlog left over from the previous administration, that they're working themselves to death just about. I know that, DA Yalamanchili, he's in the courtroom, on a daily basis.
Is he really himself? Yeah.
He's absolutely in the courtroom himself, and all of his people are in there just doing the best they can do with what they've got to work with. And, it's not as high a situation in Oconee as it is in Clark, obviously, us being in the same judicial circuit with Clark County. But it's a high volume position that he's in, and I get to talk to him pretty regularly. It's funny because he and I work out at the same gym in the morning, so that early morning time, 5:30 in the morning, is we don't get a whole lot of talking done because we really came there to work out and not worry about work.
After it. Yeah,
that's right. So, but I mean, we do talk every now and then and bounce ideas, and his ADAs will call my investigators to bounce ideas off of them, saying, hey, what can we do to make this more efficient? And generally the working relationship is leaps and bounds better, just because of the fact that we're willing to work together. So
I love that for you, for your department, for your deputies. I know that was a big stressor, and I'm just happy that that's taken place. And I'm sure, like you said, there's a lot of stuff to work through on the backlog. But how refreshing will this be in the future once everything is work through, and you guys are singing from the same hymnal.
Yes, sir. I think we're definitely doing that. The thing is we're all in the same boat. We're just trying to make sure everybody's rowing in the same direction.
Right.
And right now we're all rowing in the same direction.
Amen to that. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. We come back. One more segment with Sheriff James Hale, Sheriff of Oconee County. We'll talk about Oconee County in itself, the future and the growth.
This Christmas shopping season, give the gift of outdoors from Outdoor Specialty, serving Watkinsville and the surrounding area since 2002 with a wide variety of plants, trees, shrubs, ground cover, and more. Plus, you'll find a full line of irrigation supplies like sprinkler heads, pipe replacement parts, and more. Add some beauty to someone's home with a huge selection of pottery, landscape stones, mulch, and more. In the Garden Center, see their great selection of bird houses, bird feeders, and don't forget the Coles bird seed. The deer love Christmas too. Be sure to pick up some of Elsie's apple-flavored deer corn. This Christmas, stop in and say hello to Elsie, Diane, and their friendly staff at Outdoor Specialty, 1460 Greensboro Highway in Watkinsville. Wishing you and your family the very best this Christmas season. Call 706-769-8737 or go to OutdoorSpecialtyNursery.com.
Hey, this is Doug.
And this is Robbie.
We own and operate Foy Tree Service.
When you need tree cutting, stump grinding, lot clearing, mulching, firewood, and more, call Foy Tree Service.
Serving Morgan County and surrounding area since 1987.
With top quality service and fair prices, we take pride in our work, and we do everything to make sure that you are a happy customer.
That's Foy Tree Service. Call us at 706-342-8733.
That's 706-342-TREE.
Make sure your diesel is ready for every season by stopping in at Leadfoot Diesel. Their technicians have many years of combined experience to keep your Cummins, Power Stroke, and Duramax running the way it should. Plus, they can improve fuel mileage, perform upgrades, AC repair, and they offer tires, wheels, lift kits, and more. Diesel owners from all over the country trust Leadfoot Diesel, 320 Mayfield Drive in Monroe. Stop in or go to leadfootdiesel.com.
Is technology giving you a tough time at your home or business? Don't worry, Big Mountain Computers is here to help. We're your local tech experts, now open in Madison. Our white glove service ensures personalized solutions for all your IT needs. Hardware fixes, remote support, private lessons, and more. Visit us at Madison Plaza across from Ingalls or call 706-343-4184 to schedule your consultation. That's 706-343-4184. Big Mountain Computers, turning your mountains into molehills.
It's already that time again. Time to decide what to gift your office staff, clients, and relatives spread out all across the country for Christmas. Well, that's easy if you choose to go nuts at the Stone Mountain Pecan Company. Online at stonemountainpecan.com. Eat well, be happy.
Affordable housing is just around the corner at Cimarron Park. Cimarron Park is a mobile community located on Harry Arnold Road, just off of Highway 78 in Monroe, that offers 2- and 3-bedroom homes with spacious wooded lots, lit streets, and a family-friendly atmosphere. Some homes are for sale with available financing. Call James for all the details. 404-401-1068. That's 404-401-1068. Or go to CimarronPark.com. Keep your vehicle looking and running like new with help from the Wow Express in Monroe, offering a state-of-the-art drive-through vehicle car wash that includes free vacuums, window cleaner, and so much more. Be sure to check out their unlimited wash club that saves you money. Open 7 days a week at 911 North Broad Street in Monroe and their second location at 242 North Broad Street in Winder. To learn more, go to wowwashandlube.com.
Ready to grow your small business and reach thousands of new customers? Look no further than Town Values Magazine. Each month, our magazine is packed with coupons and services offered reaching thousands. Want to learn more? Reach out online at townvalues.com.
Welcome back. Marc McMain, our guest is Sheriff James Hale, Sheriff of Oconee County. No secret that this area is growing. Oconee County, a lot of people love going there. I'm there just about every day. I go to that Costco quite often. So you guys have a lot of traffic going through there. How do you prepare for that, for the growth that you've had, the growth that's coming? You know, what's on the horizon for you guys?
So It's a tough question to answer, really, and it really isn't. It's traffic. I mean, obviously, more people coming to the county brings more traffic. I only have a certain number of deputies working in the county during the daytime, and we try to manage that in a way to where we concentrate those deputies in the larger or higher traffic areas to try to do that. It's very difficult when, of course, those same deputies are the ones that are answering calls of service too. So
it spreads them thin a little bit.
Correct. Yeah. It really does. And so it's something that it's a manpower issue that we're trying to get more people. Of course, this past year, obviously we tried to beef up our school security with the school resource officers and working with our school system and our county commissioners got that done. So I'm trying.
Great program, by the way.
I appreciate that. I agree, and it's something that we've been talking about for many years with the schools, and it's something that obviously with the tragedy that happened over in Appalachia or Barrow County at Appalachia High School, it was something that just kind of really had to happen right now.
Yeah.
And so we were able to, we were able to get that going, and right now I have 9 out of the 16 positions filled. And hopefully we're going to get those filled within the next school year and try to get as many people over to that. So that course kind of takes away from some of the other patrol deputies, because some of them that wanted to go to SRO were able to go and do that. And now I'm trying to backfill those positions.
Do typically when you have an SRO, the school resource officer, and you get them assigned to a school, do they stay there? Is there a relationship process? They get to know the kids, the teachers, the lay of the land, if you will?
Yes, sir. So the idea was we knew we were going to try to incorporate the school's input in that to make sure that whatever SRO went to which school fit in with the culture of that school, because obviously we have 12 schools, school district schools in Oconee County, and then we have 3 private schools also. So the private schools, we don't fill the SRO positions there.
Okay.
But we are doing it in the county school system. And so we want to be able to put somebody in that school that's going to be a good fit for that school. Now, obviously, it's still a work in progress because of the fact we're just now fielding this out. So there may be some movement in that to where the ones that are where they're at now just may not fit the culture of that school, may not be the right person
Makes
for
sense.
that school.
Yeah, personalities change.
Correct. So, and that's what we're trying to work with. And that's just part of the growth, too. I mean, I think that the county growing, I laugh because I tell people all the time, they say, well, why did Oconee grow so fast? I was like, well, it grew fast in the last, 10 or 15 years since 2008, however many years that is now. I guess it's been almost 20 years now.
Right, yeah.
But, in that time frame, Oconee County grew double what it was in 2000.
That's right.
I laugh when I tell them, I was like, well, that's what happens when you take a 4-lane road that comes straight out of Atlanta and dead ends in Oconee County. So 316 dead ends right there. So that's as far as they can get from Atlanta. And, they come out there and again, right there in that area, we have Costco, which is obviously a regional draw. I mean, people from, Elbert County come down to our Costco, or, from other counties come into our Costco. So, it's something that we have to be able to manage our manpower, what manpower we do have, and try to concentrate them in those areas that have the highest, volume of traffic. And then, of course, with the schools, what we did right before I took office, Sheriff Berry allowed me to go ahead and change up our zones. When I first started with the sheriff's office, we only had 2 zones in the county. We had a north zone and we had a south zone.
Sure. And that probably worked back then.
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, just because of the lack of population. But now what we've done is we preemptively went ahead and split the county up into 6 zones.
Okay.
And that way we can have one deputy that's assigned to that zone that's within a short distance from each school in the county. So we tried to make it to where it was a working relationship between the deputy that's on patrol is responsible for this area, so that school is in that area, so they're kind of responsible for that before we ever
close
even
proximity,
had
right there.
Correct. Before we even had the resource officers there. So that was the idea and the plan. Of course, Sheriff Berry put me in charge of school safety back in 2001. So from 2001 all the way up until I took office as sheriff, I was working with the school system.
So you had a front row seat to what was going on in the needs there.
Absolutely. And there were a lot of infrastructure things that changed through the years because we didn't feel like we had the manpower for the SROs at the time. We didn't feel like we had the call volume at each school for that at the time.
Yeah.
And we were not one of those counties that had their heads stuck in the sand thinking that, hey, this school incident is never going to happen.
It's never going to happen to us.
Nobody was in that mentality. We had been training for it. We had worked towards training all the school faculty and staff for active shooter events. We worked with the school system to incorporate different technologies and different infrastructure things to make the schools safer. But of course, just having that deputy on site, has a different need there as far as mentoring kids that might need it, or just being the ears on the ground to hear about what's going on.
And the other things that go on in schools.
Correct. Yeah. That's correct. So, and those things translate. I mean, our kids are in the schools more than they're at home during the school year.
That's right.
So, having that, ear on the ground and listening to what's going on in the community, so to speak, based on what the kids are saying at school, then a lot of times that helps us get ahead of a problem that's going on at home.
I think it has so much value. It really
Yes,
does. Marc McMain, Oconee County Sheriff, James Hale. Sheriff, real quick, technology, how has that changed? How does that play into the picture for you in the future, say 5-10 years down the road? Is there a specific vision that you have for Oconee County, or is it just, hey, we're rocking and rolling, let's just keep doing what we're doing?
There's always the latest and greatest in technology that's coming out to help do things. We look at all of those things and see what's right for Oconee. What can we use that can be a force multiplier for us at the sheriff's office? What can we use to help make the community safer? There's all different types of technologies that are out there. We do already incorporate some of them. It's one of those things to where if you've got one person, but you've got 3 or 4 different pieces of technology that one person can use to do their job more efficiently and to still create a safe thing, then
Right.
you don't have to have as many people to make that happen. Just for the visibility thing, we try to use that technology.
I want to save some time to talk about the Sheriff's Office Foundation. This is a vitally important entity, and I'll let you kind of describe it, and we'll kind of kick it back and forth a little bit. But this is a way for people who would normally pay their Georgia state income tax, where they could divert some of this money, and it goes into the fund for law enforcement to buy equipment. Is that a great way of describing it?
That's a great way to describe it. Obviously, having this foundation set up, it comes from the less crime tax credit legislation that was passed a couple of 3 years ago. We've got ours up and running. The idea is that you already have to pay taxes to the state, and if you choose to, you can ask the state Department of Revenue that you can have some of that tax money forwarded to your local law enforcement foundation or public safety foundation in order to offset some of the costs.
It's a no-brainer.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, and so I know we have it Walton County. I'm sure Barrow has it. And a matter of fact, I'll let Judd and Tyler Hooks, if they want to come back on, any of the other sheriffs, if you've got this, you can just call in and tell the listeners about how to apply it. But just a quick recap, if you live in a county where this is being utilized, you just, instead of paying, let's say your tax bill to the state is $1,000 for Georgia state income tax, you can designate a portion of that. I don't know how much you got to get with your accountant for the mathematics side of this. You pay the same. You still pay the $1,000, but a portion of it gets diverted to your county sheriff's office, and then they in turn can use it for things. What is it? Bulletproof vest? Is it
equipment, training, anything that benefits the deputy, anything that benefits the office of that the foundation is for? You can go to the Oconee County Sheriff's Office website, and we have a link to our Oconee Sheriff's Office Foundation. It can go for salary replacement, all kinds of different things, as long as it benefits the deputies.
Makes the sheriff's department that much more appealing. Real quick, Sheriff, last comment. And first off, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to visit with us today. I know our listeners really enjoyed this. 5 or 10 years down the road, what is your vision for Oconee County and you as sheriff in particular?
I hope we grow the manpower. I hope we grow the numbers that we have to be able to try to do a better job of keeping the county safe. I really hope that some of this road construction gets over with. I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime, but the road construction obviously is an issue, and that creates more traffic problems and things. But that's growth. I mean, that's just the way it is, and I really want to ask everybody to just wake up in the morning and pray for patience.
Yeah.
Because the more patience you have out on the streets, the better off we are, and the safer we're going to be riding back and forth. So
I agree with that.
Construction's going to be here for a while.
just be chill when you're out driving around. Don't be in a hurry.
There you go.
My wife tells me that every day.
Yes, sir.
I'm learning. I'm getting better at it. Sheriff, this is a blessing. I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This is Sheriff James Hale of Oconee County. They're doing a fantastic job out there. This is a great interview. Folks, you're listening to the Marc McMain Show. We'll be back tomorrow at noon. Until then, stay safe.